The world ended not with a bang, but with a whisper. Or rather, with the absence of one. Dr. Aris Thorne, a linguist specializing in semiotics and the neurological basis of language, woke up that Tuesday morning to an unsettling silence. His alarm clock, usually a cacophony of beeps in spoken time, merely flashed the numbers. His cat, typically a demanding vocal presence, sat by the bed, its mouth opening and closing in soundless meows. Confusion churned in his gut. He tried to speak. No sound. He tried to think in words. His mind felt fuzzy. Concepts were there, raw and immediate, but the intricate scaffolding of language, the internal monologue that narrated his existence, was gone. It was like trying to grasp smoke. He scrambled out of bed, a primal fear seizing him. He grabbed his phone, tried to call his wife, Lena. The screen glowed, the call connected, but the line was dead air. No dial tone, no ring, no voice. Just the vibrating haptic feedback of the device. He rushed to the living room. Lena was there, her eyes wide with terror, miming frantically. She pointed at the TV, where a news anchor was gesticulating wildly, her lips moving in a grotesque pantomime. No sound. No captions. The world had gone silent. And not just silent. Speechless. Panic, a raw, wordless terror, began to ripple through the city. Aris and Lena clung to each other, their shared fear a tangible, silent force. They tried simple gestures, pointing, nodding, shaking heads. Basic needs, food, water, safety, became paramount. The intricate dance of human interaction, previously orchestrated by language, crumbled into a desperate ballet of charades and instinct. Days bled into weeks. The initial chaos, the looting, the desperate attempts to communicate, slowly gave way to a chilling new order. Humanity, stripped of its most fundamental tool, began to regress. Complex thought, dependent on the internal structures provided by language, became a luxury. Societies fractured. Governments collapsed. Survival became the only imperative. Aris, with his profound understanding of language, felt the loss more acutely than most. He witnessed the erosion of memory, the inability to transmit knowledge across generations. Without language, history became just a series of disconnected images. Culture, a tapestry woven with stories and ideas, began to fray. He saw children, born into this new silence, communicating in grunts, cries, and rudimentary hand signals, their cognitive development stunted by the absence of words. It was like watching humanity devolve. He dedicated himself to understanding what had happened. He found a small group of fellow survivors in what used to be a university library, now a desolate monument to forgotten knowledge. They were a motley crew, a deaf artist, a former sign language interpreter, an engineer, and a philosophy professor who, like Aris, felt the phantom limb pain of lost words. They communicated through a rapidly evolving, rudimentary sign language, punctuated by frustrated cries and knowing glances. Aris theorized it wasn't a physical change to the vocal cords or ears, but something deeper, neurological. A global aphasia that affected everyone, simultaneously. He believed it was a targeted event, a complete erasure of the linguistic centers of the brain. But by whom? Or what? One day, while scavenging for supplies in an abandoned research facility, Aris stumbled upon a hidden sub-basement. It was a perfectly preserved, self-sustaining laboratory. And in its center, humming with an eerie blue light, was a device unlike anything he had ever seen. A massive, complex machine of crystalline structures and pulsating energy. Next to it, on a datapad, a single, looping video message played. The message showed a man, impeccably dressed, speaking directly to the camera. Aris felt a jolt of recognition. It was Dr. Thorne, his brilliant but estranged brother, a reclusive quantum physicist. Kalen had vanished years ago, rumored to be working on some highly secretive, world-changing project. As Aris watched, the video played, silent, but accompanied by a series of flashing symbols, a new, universal pictogram language that gradually, terrifyingly, began to make sense. He watched for hours, his mind struggling to decode the visual narrative. Kalen explained. He had discovered a looming cosmic event, an echo wave that would sweep across Earth, fundamentally altering human consciousness. This wave, he explained, was a natural, cyclical phenomenon that had occurred countless times throughout the galaxy, affecting sentient species at crucial evolutionary junctures. Its purpose was to reset dominant species, to force them to shed complex, often divisive structures that had led to stagnation or self-destruction. And for humanity, the most complex and divisive structure was language. Kalin had built the machine, not to cause the disappearance of language, but to mitigate the worst effects of the echo wave. Without the machine, the wave would have caused complete cognitive collapse, turning humanity into mindless husks. The machine, a linguistic stabilizer, had filtered the wave's impact, preserving basic thought and memory, allowing for rudimentary communication, preventing total annihilation. He had sacrificed the ability to speak, to write, to form complex sentences, in order to save the species from utter oblivion. It was a forced evolutionary reset, designed to prevent humanity from destroying itself through its own words, its own divisive ideologies. The video showed Kalin's final moments. He activated the machine, a look of profound sorrow and grim determination on his face. He became the architect of humanity's silent suffering, but also its silent savior. He had chosen to be a villain in a world that could no longer articulate blame, a hero in a world that could no longer praise. The unexpected twist hit Aris with the force of a physical blow. His estranged brother, whom he'd always seen as cold and detached, had made the ultimate sacrifice. He had given up his own voice, his own words, his very connection to humanity, to save it from itself. And he had done so without a single word of explanation to the world, knowing that such a complex truth could not be understood in the wake of such a profound loss. Aris looked at the humming machine. It was still active, still stabilizing. It was preventing humanity from plunging into true oblivion, but also preventing the return of language. He now understood the true weight of Kalin's burden. The choice wasn't about bringing language back, it was about whether humanity, in its raw, silent state, could truly learn to communicate anew, perhaps in a purer form, without the inherent biases and divisions that words often carried. He looked at his own hands, then at the silent data pad. He had a choice. He could try to reverse Kalin's work, risking utter cognitive collapse for the chance to reclaim words. Or he could embrace this new silence, this forced reset, and perhaps guide humanity towards a future where understanding transcended the spoken word. The irony was devastating. The greatest linguist in the world, now faced with the choice of whether language itself should ever return. The true human experiment, Kalin had implied, was just beginning. And Aris, the man who lived for words, was now its silent, reluctant guardian.